Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. There is no title for this get together yet. We don't know what we're going to be calling these things, but I'm here with my friend and fellow co-host Tom Hunyadi.
Hey,
Uh,
Joe.
he absolutely loves movies, and I think sometimes he said, well, maybe even more sometimes than music. But am I putting words in your mouth?
Sometimes I can be more of a film guy than a music guy. Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I love movies too. He's got quite the collection there. I have just a few of mine here in the living room. The rest of you usually see in my other room where I do my Beatles videos. But we thought we'd get together here and try to do a little something. Basically, just Q&A, as we say, and hopefully people are going to have some questions, and until they start coming, movie related. This is all movies,
Movie
you
related.
know.
Please keep the Beatles and McCartney to another
Yeah, we're not
time.
talking about Beatles. We're not talking about McCartney here, unless
Uh,
you want to ask us what we think of certain Beatle movies. But that's cheating. And I can see already we
right,
don't have many people here, so we'll just
right,
keep winging it. Um,
right,
yeah. So I recently went over to Barnes and Noble because they have the Criterion sale, fifty
right.
percent off, and that's quite a deal when you consider. But I wonder if most people don't wait. They must all do that, right? They must wait till the
Well,
sale every year.
I actually have a chain of record stores out here that sells movies as well, Zia Records, and they generally will have when the Criterion's come in, they'll usually have them on sale for $25. So not much more expensive than the half off sale. So I'll usually get them, right off the bat because they're affordable. I mean, Barnes and Nobles tends to charge more than what other places charge for their Criterion collection.
Yeah, I
So,
picked up just one I picked up was
yep,
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
yep. There you go.
The new version, I guess. Right? Isn't this
Right.
new?
Yeah, it came out a few months back.
Oh, there you go. So I'm
Yeah.
going to be watching this tonight. My girlfriend's never seen it,
Oh,
so
really?
we'll
Oh, this is
watch
a
it.
treat. I'm really looking forward to watching the TV version, which has different scenes in there that were
Yeah,
not
I
in
think
the
I saw
not in the
that once
movies.
upon a time on
Yeah.
TV. I think.
Yeah.
What do you got? Do you got anything
Yeah,
to
yeah, I
show?
picked up a few as well from the Barnes and Nobles. One is a movie called Deep Cover, which starring Lawrence Fishburne and Jeff Goldblum. It's a cop movie, drug movie, if you will. So enjoy that one. Another one is I love Bringing Up Baby, so they just released this one.
Yeah.
So got that. And then a title from last year. I think this came out last year, and it's the three films by Louis Benoit.
Which ones are on
French.
there?
You got the Phantom of Liberty, That Obscure Object of Desire, and the Street Charms of the Bourgeoisie. Now, all three of those movies were in the Criterion Collection years prior. They lost the rights to them, and now they got the rights back, and they put all of his films in one set. So, and they were all numbered as well originally. So they got the original numbers that they were back when they came out on DVD. So,
I
yeah,
was getting into Buñuel years ago. I knew a guy that
yeah,
was really into him, and I know that's how I got to see Belle de Jour,
oh
which I
yeah,
like. I
yeah.
like that.
Love the Shore's good.
And
Yeah,
the title of that object of her desire that
Dyer's,
that,
yeah,
that sounds familiar. And there was
yep.
another one I can't remember. I think it was a one word title. That was a big movie of his, and I can't remember. It's been like 15 years since I really got into it. We start getting some questions here.
All right.
How many movies do you guys have in your collection?
With the Blu-rays, I'm over 1,300 as of right now.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah, I don't have mine on it. I don't have them on account.
mm,
I would say got to be 1,000 or close to it. I
mm.
don't know, but I have them on different formats: Blu-rays, DVDs. I even have some old VHS tapes that I'm trying to upgrade them, so to speak.
Hmm.
So, yeah. Now we had one here. Which Albert Brooks movies do you love? I'm trying to remember. Defending Your Life, isn't that one with
Defending
him and
Your
Meryl
Life.
Streep?
Well, yeah, with Meryl Streep. That one just came out on Criterion Collection as well, and that one might be, um, my favorite. I must admit that I'm not the biggest Albert Brooks fan. I like him more as an actor than a director and star. So yeah, but yeah, Defending Your Life is really good. Really enjoyed that.
It's been a long time since I saw that one, but I'm a Meryl Streep fan. I mean,
Yeah.
I like her
Yeah.
movies. I think she's my favorite actress. I would say.
Mhm.
And if I say modern, I mean modern is in like I guess late '70s,
Right.
on something like that, to now. Let's see. Have you seen The Breakfast Club and Back to the Future? Those are my two favorites.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Well, yeah. Breakfast Club is actually part of the Criterion Collection as well. Back to the Future. Yeah. I mean, I've seen those in the theater, and and to be honest with you, I haven't seen those movies since seen them in the theater. So
yeah, I haven't seen. I saw Back to the Future in the theater. Haven't seen it in a long time.
right,
But it's good. But I didn't get into the point where I don't own it, and I don't
right,
watch it multiple times. Yeah.
right.
As for Breakfast Club, well, that's a favorite of a lot of people. I knew somebody, woman that I knew was really into that, and I saw it. That's an interesting movie. It's got a lot of quirky characters, and everybody's got their own problems and hang-ups.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, that was a favorite of my generation, Gen X. That was
uh,
that was our movie. So
Favorite documentaries.
no, there's a lot out there.
Beatles anthology.
Well, there is one the movie that guy Jodorowsky who did the Holy Mountain and El Topo. He was going to do Dune next, and there's a documentary called Jodorowsky's Dune, which is a documentary on his production leading up to when the movie got canceled, and that's pretty interesting.
I mean, with me, I think a music documentary is like Eat the not Eat the Document. Don't Look Back with the Bob Dylan one. Give
Yeah,
Me Shelter with the Stones. Ones like
yeah.
that.
Mhm.
It's funny because there are probably a lot of documentaries I like, which are make kind of like they're extras with movies, the making of
Right.
things, if they
Yeah.
count.
Right.
Like I don't know the
There's
titles of them all.
Right.
But
I'm a big fan of Flash Gordon from 80 or 81 when it came out. A couple years back, they released a documentary called Life After Flash, I think it was, and it was about the actor that portrayed Flash Gordon. Really interesting. Really interesting
yeah,
documentary.
and documentaries. I mean, then there's movies, of course, like biographies. It's not quite the same.
Oh yeah, it's not the same. And Criterion has just a ton of documentaries. Tokyo Olympiad is one. Airplane, always the original on Airplane.
Yeah, I don't remember it, though. I know I've seen it. I
Yeah,
remember the beginning. Is that the one that says, "What's
right.
the fastest?" You have all these questions. What's the fastest animal? The cheetah.
The
That's
sheet.
right. I think that's in part two, but I'm not sure. But
Right, right. Yeah, there's a ton of documentaries that Criterion has, and all of them are pretty worthy of viewing. The Gimme Shelter. I mean, if you want to consider that documentary or a concert film or both, it's pretty interesting in that sense. But yeah, Hearts and Minds on that's a documentary on the Vietnam War. That's pretty rough to watch. That's a pretty rough watch, but worthy to see in the oh wow.
it's you got beta. Oh, so you got
Yeah.
beta to everything. Yeah. I mean, do you
Yeah.
ever see that guy, Cinema Sickness? Have you ever seen
No.
him on? Look up Cinema Sickness. Now he's mostly his channel is mostly thrifting. But
Mm,
you should see this, Tom. One day I'll tell you. I'll send you a link or something. He's got his whole as basement set up. I mean, you never saw anything like this. It looks like rows and rows and rows and aisles and aisles and aisles of
right.
VHS to every format, VHS tape,
Right.
the laser discs, those other what do they see? LED discs. So I think
Mm,
they're called. And for anything, he just collects formats. DivX that didn't work. DIVX. Uh, Bizarre, actually.
hmm.
So let's see what else we got here. Oh yeah, okay. Great Halls reminding us. You said that the Incredible Shrinking Man is
Yep.
announced for Blu-ray. Thoughts on the film, and will you purchase this new release? Well, I'll start off with this. Well, my biggest category that I like is science fiction and horror, especially the older one, 30s, 40s, 50s. And yeah, that's a pretty amazing movie for its time, the effects and everything like that. I think it's a good, enjoyable, fun film. I'll probably buy it because if I'm not mistaken, I have that on DVD from a collection or the few movies together, and that quality I remember striking me as not good.
Mm,
They need, I mean, even back then, I mean, it just wasn't as good as the others on the. I
right.
thought it was kind of messed up looking. So, what do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Criterion did their restoration process with that film. I'm gonna get it. I've enjoyed most of the B horror films that Criterion has put out. You know, Fiend Without a Face, Blob, and so on and so on. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna get it. Cat People, So, yep.
Well, when you say
Yeah,
John Cassavetes, what do you have?
yeah. I mean, there's a box Criterion released a Cassavetes box set that I've gotten. They've released a couple other films besides that, and yeah, I mean, I tend to enjoy Cassavetes.
Well,
Um,
he's as a director, right?
as a director and an actor, yeah. I mean, he directs and acts.
Yeah, I have
From
him. I'll tell you the movies I have with
right,
him in it as far as actor. I don't know about
right,
director, but I have him on Rosemary's Baby, obviously, where he's
right,
fantastic. He's the
right.
perfect bad husband in that.
Yeah.
I I also have him in a movie called 2 Minute Warning.
Okay.
That's it's like a disaster film about a sniper at a
Uh,
stadium,
yeah.
football stadium, and he
Mhm.
plays the head of the SWAT team in that. And the
Okay.
last one that I think these are only three I know I have. Another one is Whose Life Is It Anyway? It's a seldom
Mhm.
seen film with Richard Dreyfuss when he's in a big accident, becomes paralyzed, and fights for the right to die. He's
Okay.
like arguing, and his doctor is played by John Cassavetes, who
Cassavetes.
actually, he wants to keep him alive, because that, ethics and whatever his morals and whatever against
Morals.
his wishes.
Gotcha. So yeah, this is the Cassavetes box set from Criterion right here. 5 films, which features Opening Night, The Killing of a Chinese Bookie, Woman Under the Influence. Now that's probably the most well-known film in here, starring his wife. In here, that is Gina Rollins, and then you got Faces and Shadows. Shadows and Faces, they're more like a low budget. Um, Very low budget films, and then Woman Under the Influence, Killing with Chinese Bookie, they're more bigger budgets on those films. But yeah, but he acts and stars in these movies as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Woodland Goblin says he'll take the Big Chill over the Breakfast Club.
yeah.
I guess I would too. It's more of an adult movie, but the thing about the Big Chill is I saw that in the movies when it came out, and I revisited it. I thought I liked it in the movies, but I revisited it on home video, and I thought it missed the mark. I didn't. I wouldn't want to see it again. But the music
Mm.
is great in it. It's a good soundtrack. And the music's good. Uh, let's see what else we got here. Look at funny comments in here. All right, I'll do favorite
There you
biblical
go.
movie. Do you have a
That's
favorite?
you, Joe. That's you right there.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, my favorite, one of my favorite movies of all time is the 1959 Ben Hur. I mean, it's considered a biblical epic, but it's not a Bible story. It's a made up
Right.
story, I believe. But the biblical, Ten Commandments.
Mm.
The genre of biblical epic, Samson and Delilah. I
Right.
like Barabbas. This what's the other one? Well, the Robe and
Oh
its
yeah. Well,
sequel, Demetrius and the Gladiators, which I like better than the Robe. I think. So there you
hmm.
go. There's a bunch of
Yeah. I
biblical
mean,
movies.
I enjoyed Passion of the Christ, the Mel Gibson film. Oh, see, that's a good question there. Favorite Godzilla. So I've only ever seen the very first Godzilla film.
Mm.
Um, I do want to get the Criterion box set because I'm curious to see the rest of those Godzilla. Now I have seen clips of those films, but I've just never seen the whole all of them all the way through. So I am looking forward to getting that Godzilla box set and watching them.
Well, the first Godzilla film is without question the darkest,
Hmm.
most disturbing, depressing,
Right.
serious Godzilla film, and a real monster movie, and a lot of terror and disturbance in it. So it's worth seeing. I mean, because it's effective. And then later on, though, I got into the whole camp stuff. I mean, I love all the Godzilla movies.
Right.
I mean, they go from like the 50s all the way till modern times. And some of my favorites are King Kong versus Godzilla. And when I say that, I mean the early one. It's 1962, I think. I like that. Godzilla versus Mothra from like
Mm,
1964. Any of those things. Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. I mean, those. Once you get into the spirit of the tongue in cheek and having fun, after a while, Godzilla went from a villain to being a hero. And I actually didn't think that was a bad idea because to me, just having a movie where you get a monster going around breathing radioactive breath and destroying cities, people running.
right,
How can you do that for 50 films? I mean,
right.
after a while. So they had him like he's kind of like the hero that saves the world from outer space monsters, and they come with different monsters and things. They
Hmm.
tried to make different ideas, but I got tons of favorite Godzillas.
Right.
Uh, but those ones I mentioned. Uh, well, yeah, I'm reading a lot of interesting comments too. Uh, yeah, the smog monster is your favorite, which I mentioned. Yeah, it's different that one. That's for sure. It's kind of a little on the creepy side. Um,
Oh, original all the way. Original
yeah,
with
you
with
know when you
their
say yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
I mean, I like the original. You know, I could go on that forever. That's a big like the Beatles.
Yeah,
I'm that big on Planet of the Apes. Like I am with the Beatles. I got the ape set up there. Can't do
yeah.
move my hand right. But anyway, yeah, I love the originals. The first five Apes films I grew up with until Star Wars came along and took over the interest in everything. But I love the first five Apes movies. I hated with a passion the Tim Burton film.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. That
mean,
was bad.
I waited for that for a movie for like
Hmm.
30 years or whatever the hell it was, and then they came out with that thing. But as far as the new series goes, the three films they made, I enjoyed those three.
They're
But
good. I mean, they tell a good story. They're definitely better than the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes, and I think they didn't follow through on a few storylines in there, but for the most part, if I was to say, the original or that one, I would take the original with that one with that new trilogy not far behind.
Well, I think what the question you're saying, the Godzilla movie in America, they added Raymond Burr as a reporter and tried to recut it.
Uh,
And I can tell you, the Japanese version is the way to go, 1,000% with that.
mhm,
The original Japanese version with the subtitles. So
right.
if you're gonna watch it, watch that version.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's you too, buddy.
Yeah, I know. That's the way it's going today.
Right.
You know, I think the best Elvis movie, in my opinion, is King Creole. I think it was his favorite one too, Elvis, and and behind there you have films like Jailhouse Rock, which I know Tom has seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, that's
That's it.
good, and the '50s ones, Loving You, is pretty good. But then when you have to have the right frame of mind, like the Godzilla films. There's a lot of films I like from the Beach Blanket Bingo era, the silly era, and among them, like this one here, Girl Happy is fun. I like Live a Little, Love a Little is a fun one for me, and those are like a couple of the ones I can name. Spin Out is fun. I mean, some of them are a little more fun than
Hmm.
others. Some of them are too more formula than others. Uh, let's see. Okay, the graduate.
Yeah. I like the question before that one too. So if you want to
Oh
go
yeah,
to
I'll
that
get
one.
that. I'll get that.
Yeah. The
But the
Graduate is it's a landmark film. I mean, it really kicked off. Well, not really that The Graduate. I mean, Bonnie and Clyde did as well, but it started to give more freedoms to directors and script writers, and you started getting seeing a little bit more nudity in films there, and I think it opened the doors for a more creative peak that we saw from in the 70s, which to that the question before, what's your favorite era of film, and mine is 70s. I'm a huge 70s fan. I think there's just a little ton of excellent movies from the 70s.
well, just knock it off. The graduate. I like the movie quite a bit. It's not one of my all-time favorites. I hate using the word dated.
Mm,
I always say that
yeah.
because people say, but it's dated in the sense that it's very much of the era '60s, and Dustin Hoffman's really, coming into being as a star or an
Right.
actor, and um, I don't know. I like the actors in there. You got this very tiny bit with Richard Dreyfuss. Has got a very tiny part,
Yeah.
very
Yep.
tiny, in
Very
there.
tiny.
And I think Norman Fell is in there as a landlord, and you got I forget Murray Hamilton, who's the I can't think what the word is in Jaws. He's the mayor. He's the mayor in Jaws. He's got a good role in there, and of course Anne Bancroft.
And
I
Bancroft,
mean,
come on.
I would have had a hard time if I was Benjamin Braddock. I would have a hard time
Mm,
resisting her at the time, I think. And it's got a great soundtrack, Simon and Garfunkel. Yeah, I like the movie.
yeah.
Oh, Catherine Ross. I don't want to forget Catherine Ross. She's wonderful in there too. So yeah, there you go. And yeah, the favorite era for film, which you were saying, the 70s, right?
70s for me, but yeah, all the way. I mean, I do enjoy 50s cinema as well, but 70s for me is in terms of quality of entertainment, the freedoms that the directors had and actors. I think coming into their own and more adult themes, you're able to start taking advantage of telling darker stories that you couldn't tell
Mm.
in past decades.
Well, I never really thought about it. I like films from all eras, pretty much. Except what as you might guess, like with music, it's the same thing with me. As it starts getting into the '90s, I start liking less things. I start seeing less things, really. But I think the '70s, '70s is pretty big. '60s, but the thing is, I'm a big fan of, again, horror movies, and my favorite era are the golden ones of the 30s and 40s. So I like the 30s and 40s and 50s when we're talking horror movies a lot, you know. But then, like Tom said, that kind of nails it too. Where coming of age to do more,
Mm.
uh, get away with more
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
in the
Yeah,
70s, 60s.
the ratings
Um,
board were lightening up a little bit. So there you go. I like that one.
I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Yeah,
I'm lost.
Rushmore and the Royal Tenenbaums are my two favorite Wes Anderson films. I mean, and Grand Budapest Hotel is another one that I really enjoy. I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan. The only one that's really not high up on my list would be The Life Aquatic. With Bill Murray. I mean,
Mm.
it's fine, but I don't think it's anywhere near as good as some of his other films. But yeah, but Rushmore and The Royal Tenenbaums would be my two favorite Wes Anderson films. And what do you
Jack
got on that
Nicholson.
one? That's a
Favorite
good
Jack
question
Nicholson
there.
performance.
Yeah,
Um, I love One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
yeah.
That's probably my favorite. But I mean, I haven't seen everything by Jack Nicholson. I've never
Mm,
been a fan of The Shining as much as I love horror.
mm,
I only say that because, as far as I can see, I just feel that I think Jack Nicholson is kind of crazy from the get go. He looks kind of weird. It kind of ruins it
right.
for me. But I like the movie. Talk about newer movies, meaning I think this was early 2000s or the late 90s. Movie called About Schmidt, which I
Oh
actually
yeah,
liked.
yeah. I like that one a lot. Yeah,
Yeah, and I was like,
I've
wow, I
got
was
that as well.
surprised.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So
I would say early Jack is his best. I'm a huge fan of Five Pieces. That's probably would be my favorite Jack performance.
well done, well done. Oh yeah, the movie. Oh, I know the movie like the back of my hand, but I'm having a brain fart. Girl Happy. The movie Girl Happy has that song in it, Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce, and it's a cute song. Okay, Tom, favorite Rocky sequel.
Ah, I gotta go with three.
Well, it's a good
Clubber,
choice.
Clubber Lang and Thunder Lips.
Oh,
Some
I have great memories of seeing Part Three in the movie theater.
yeah.
At the time, I don't think I'd seen one or two, but
Mm,
I actually went to see Part Three, and I loved it. I saw it more than once. Thought it was
yeah.
great. I loved Mr. T in there,
Yep. And
uh,
Hulk
and, and
Hogan, the Hulkster.
the whole thing with Rocky losing his confidence and having to be like Apollo Creed, kind of bringing him back,
Yep.
kind of thing. I loved the whole thing.
Yep.
Um,
Death of Mickey. Yeah.
yeah, and now I've seen. Well, we're not talking about all the Rocky movies, but I think the first Rocky film now I think is probably the best one. Surprise,
Right.
but the sequels, yeah, three for me, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a huge film noir guy. You know, 70s had some good ones. You know, Chinatown for is an example of a good 70s noir film. But I mean, but I don't think any of those 70s noirs can top the film noirs from the 40s and 50s. Specifically, stuff like Touch of Evil from Wells. You know, Wells did some great film noir stuff.
I really don't have an answer for this. I mean, that's terrible that I don't know a lot of Lee Marvin movies.
Hey, Professionals is excellent. Point Blank is excellent. Dirty Dozen. I mean, all three of those are excellent Lee Marvin movies. Absolutely. He did one with Toshia Mifune. The name of that is escaping me. Maybe one of you guys can get the title on that. But
If you see it, bring it up. Mention it.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, Lee Marvin's done some really good stuff. Maybe an underrated actor or underappreciated, maybe. Um,
There you
oh,
go. You want to go up first for that one?
yeah, you go ahead. Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm saying, you think
Oh,
about
I
it.
can
You can
go.
think. You got a
Yeah,
lot, I'm sure. You
yeah.
have a hard time. If you have a hard time, I'll go first. I have an easy time.
No, I mean that's easy for me. You know, Taxi
I haven't.
Driver and
I
Raging
haven't seen
Bull.
every Scorsese
Yeah,
film. Scorsese, I mean.
really? Okay.
I haven't seen every Scorsese film.
Yeah,
Of the ones I see, I love. People are gonna be surprised, but After Hours. It's my favorite Scorsese film.
right,
It's a crazy romp in the
right.
city, and I also love The King of Comedy. And those are two like more in the dark comedy vein
Yeah.
for Scorsese.
hmm You know, yeah. Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, Raging Bull. Right up there at the top. Then down below would probably Mean Streets, Casino, King of Comedy. It's one of the is it the best director actor combo in film history? Maybe with De Niro and Scorsese, but it's he's got so many. Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. Good stuff. I mean, so many great movies. I'm really looking forward to the one he's making right now with De Niro and DiCaprio, Flower Killers in the Flower. I can't say it right now. Killers in the Flower, no, Flowers in the. I can't speak right now. But anyways, he's
Live,
doing a movie.
live.
Yeah, I know. He's doing a new movie right now with De Niro and DiCaprio, and I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, that movie with Lee Marvin and Toshiro Mifune is called Hell in the Pacific. Thank you, Rock and Roll Rebel.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now you say McHugh with John Wayne or the detective. I've never seen the detective with Sinatra, but I think I've seen some of McHugh with John Wayne. I don't get John Wayne, like the
right,
love of John Wayne, except maybe I guess as a cowboy or something. I mean, I liked him in. I think he's in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. I think he's in
right.
that one. I
Yep.
hope I got the right film. He was good in that. But McHugh, you got John Wayne being a cop, I believe, which is a modern day cop, which is kind of interesting for him. So
Yeah. See, I can believe Sinatra as a detective is more believable to me than John Wayne as a detective. So I never
John
could.
Wayne is the
I can.
detective.
I have a hard time watching um, John Wayne in anything but westerns.
Hmm. Well, I was a teenage werewolf. That's my era. It's not available on. It came out on VHS tape. It never came out on DVD, let alone Blu-ray or anything like that. And that's because the woman who owns these, Susan Hart, is hoarding what she owns of these old '50s movies, thinking she's going to get a fortune for them. And the more decades that go by, the less interest there is in them. So some of these movies, you're talking about the Sam Arkoff collection, Arkoff and I'm forgetting who else. Um, some of them have made it out, like I think War of the Colossal Beast. Some of this era '50s that were owned by the other side got out, but the ones owned by Susan Hart,
Hmm.
which are some of the best ones, Teenage Frankenstein and Teenage Werewolf, she's hoarding. So um,
Ooh, probably,
I'll go
probably six.
'60s.
Yeah, probably 60s.
Forget from
Although
what I've
the
seen.
50s stuff, with Jimmy Stewart and Cary Grant. Um, yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, probably 60s. You know, concert centric film.
You can't think of these things when you.
Well, Concert for Bangladesh.
Oh, you mean
The
like that? Oh,
yeah, the last waltz, which is another Scorsese film.
I guess I got to go with Rock Show if that counts.
Yeah.
Um, there's not many. I'm not that big on the Bangladesh movie.
Mm,
I think Dylan gave the best performance out of everybody in that one.
right.
But yeah, it's okay. Yes, sir. If we're going by concerts themselves,
Yeah.
but there were other concerts besides Beatles related things. Oh boy, they got me.
David Fincher is an excellent director. Zodiac is excellent. I like a lot of things that he's done, especially in the '90s and early 2000s. One film that I wish would get an update, a new Blu-ray, would be Panic Room. It was one of my
I
you
saw
know
that.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites of his. I even like his Alien 3 movie. I thought it was really style. I mean, in a like a more creative, stylized, director's way. I mean, it's story is okay, but I thought the way he directed that film was well done. Even
Hmm.
though it's looked at as one of the worst in the
I think
series.
in retrospect, I think it's underrated.
Mm,
Meaning, at least it's more serious. It's more, it's more
right.
dark and intense. And I'm not without spoiling it, but an early scene in the beginning of the movie of a death that always pisses a lot of people off. I think was brilliant. I think that was
Mm,
so. I mean, unusually like sad and upsetting. You wouldn't expect that. Sometimes
right.
in real life, these kind of things are unavoidable and happen, and that's why
Yeah.
I couldn't believe they did it. They actually did that, and I was impressed with the balls.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And I love,
to
I
do that.
love, I love, yeah, and I love The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke.
Oh boy, never seen that.
Yeah.
Do you like? I didn't see this. The soldier. What is that?
We were
Wayne?
soldiers. Yeah, yeah,
We were soldiers.
yeah. With Mel Gibson, he starred, and in that one, it was fine. I don't think it was any. I don't think it was at the top of any of the war movie lists. But it was fine.
Hmm. Now, what are your views on remakes, reboots? Personally, I think they're almost all pointless and never as good, with Pacino's Scarface being pretty much my only exception. Oh, well, well.
Interesting.
I mean, I've liked wow, this is a tough one because generally speaking, I'm not wild about remakes or reboots in
Right.
general, but there are exceptions. There are
Yeah.
ones that I have liked. And these days I think it's getting out of control because, you know, people try to catch me sometimes. I say, "Oh, why do they have to redo Spider-Man again?" With- every few years reboot Spider-Man, the Hulk. They just did it. Like
Yeah.
5, 10 years ago, 5, 8 years ago. So whatever, they keep redoing it. And the old, I say they get me with sometimes. They say, well, you like films like Frankenstein with Boris Karloff, Joe, and Frankenstein's a remake. And I'm like,
Right.
what do you mean by the 1910 Edison Frankenstein? Like
Yeah.
it's like 10 minutes long, you know. Or they say, well, you love Ben Hur. They had a silent Ben Hur. That's a remake. And I said,
Right.
yeah, but it's silent, and they had to do, for big screen color sound. I don't mind that, but man, like you don't have to remake certain movies, except for money.
Right.
That's the reason, right? But right,
That's right.
do you need to do like? Do you need to do another like say Taxi Driver? Do you need to remake Taxi Driver?
Right.
Do you need to make The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 times? A TV movie in
Right.
addition to the '74 version. And then there was one with John Travolta, which I won't see them. I just won't see.
Mm,
If I love a movie,
right.
enough, I'll never see a remake of Jaws if they do one.
And yeah. Yeah.
The
Thank
Exorcist. I'm not,
yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Jason, for pointing that out. Yes, Aronofsky was the wrestler. Thank you. I stand corrected. But with the reboot thing, honestly, I think the second Batman trilogy was better than the original, with Michael Keaton, and then Val Kilmer, and then George Clooney. That second one was Christian Bale's Batman. I thought that was a great
Yeah, I didn't
reboot
like. I don't know
series.
what I didn't like the second one. I don't. Oh, by the way, when we talked about Jack Nicholson earlier, I forgot about the
Right,
Joker. I
right,
liked him as a Joker in the Tim Burton Batman. I like
right.
the Tim Burton Batman movie, and
Mm.
then the other ones less and less. But I did. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't like what they did. I should love the ones they did later on. Batman Begins, is it?
Yeah, Batman
And
Begins, The Dark Knight. Yeah,
but I just didn't care for them. But the remakes and reboots out of control. But sometimes they work. Like when they rebooted James Bond with Casino Royale and Daniel Craig. I thought it worked. You know,
mm.
sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't work. Uh, Tom.
I don't. You know what? I don't have any. I mean, I have quite a few films that start franchise in the horror. Like I have the first Omen, I have the first Exorcist, I have the first Friday the 13th. But to be honest with you guys, horror is not my favorite genre. I got the first Sleepaway Camp. Horror is not my favorite genre of film. So generally, I tend to just stick with the first ones because they're 9 times out of 10 the best of the series. Same with Poltergeist. I have the first Poltergeist as well. So those first ones generally always used to be always seem to be the best.
Hmm.
So I don't really delve into their sequels that
Well, the
much.
thing about that interests me about that is, I mean, with the Halloween, I could agree with you about Halloween because I mean, later on,
Hmm.
they just got worse, and I think, and the Freddy movies, the first Nightmare on Elm Street, I think, is the best one of those.
Right.
But when it comes to Jason, what's interesting about it is, well, you said Friday the 13th. I don't know if
Mhm.
there is no Jason the killer in the first Friday the 13th. It's not him.
Right.
It's in the other ones that he
It's the
became this
yeah. It's the mom.
superstar.
Right.
So
Right.
so it's one of my least favorites,
Right.
the first one, because of
Nightmare on
that.
Elm Street. Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street is another one too. I like the first one, and the bits and pieces that I've seen. And speaking of documentaries too, there's a great documentary on the whole series, Never Sleep Again, I think it's called, on the Nightmare on Elm Street series. Oh, Brando! I absolutely adore Brando. Uh, 50s, 60s, 70s, even 90s performances. Shit, so many great Brando performances. The young ones. I'm sorry, not the young ones. The Young Lions is a great performance. Not Serenara is a great Brando performance. Obviously, those early '50s, are all great. But One Eye Jacks, it's a fun film. Stanley Kubrick was supposed to direct that
Mm.
film, and walked out, and Brando finished directing that one. So that's a good choice. That's a good choice.
Well, for me, I mean, I'll stick with The Godfather. I went through a period where, years ago, I was really trying to watch everything more than I'm doing now.
Right,
Although this might be an incentive, this channel and doing these things might be an incentive to
right.
start more. But I remember watching On the Waterfront and liking that. I remember watching
Yep,
A Streetcar Named Desire and
yep,
liking that.
yep,
So
yep.
those are three that stand out in my mind: the Godfather and those two
Well,
films,
obviously, Godfather, yeah, as a standout. Last Tango in Paris, I think he was relatively good in
which I
that
haven't
too.
seen. I
Yeah.
never saw that one.
He was fun in The Freshman, making fun of himself as the Godfather, so and that was a pretty good one. So yeah, I mean he has plenty of great performances. It's just hard to narrow them down to like your 5 favorites or whatever. But a lot of good stuff from Brando.
What about your favorite modern actor?
Oh, modern day. I really enjoy Christian Bale.
I have a hard time because again, I don't see enough newer movies, and when I think of these, I mean, like someone who popped into my head was Philip Seymour Hoffman, who died.
Mm.
I liked him, but I haven't seen enough new movies, to really say. So there you go.
Some actors, they'll get into a really good spurt where they'll do like 5, 6 really good films, and then they'll fall into a rut. or whatever. Like Clooney did some some really good stuff for a while, and then Christian Bale did some really good stuff. I mean, there's a lot of good actors that will, Ed Norton I thought did some really good stuff as well,
Lawton.
yeah, Norton, yeah.
Well,
But yeah, Christian Bale's mine for right now. For now,
black and white or color? Well, for me, both. It depends on the movie.
yeah,
I mean, I love black and white. I mean,
yeah.
some movies are just they're perfect in black and white,
Depends
and
on the genre, really, on
you
the
know,
genre
it's,
of film.
it's so much. What can I say? I love old black and white horror movies. Like I said, when you watch stuff like the Frankenstein movies and the old Dracula movies, they kind of like work as gloomy castles and haunted in black
Hmm.
and white like that, and shadows, you know, things like
Hmm.
that. But then later on, if you want to watch some slasher stuff, or you want to watch something a little more gory and crazy, the color works for that better than say Psycho in the shower, or stuff. I
Right.
mean, as an example, but in general, it doesn't have to be horror. It could be anything. I just like both. I mean,
Film, just color. I mean, black and white is great for film noir.
yeah,
I
film
actually
noir, it
would have.
has to be black and white,
Yeah,
really.
I actually would have hoped that they would have filmed Chinatown in black and white. I would have loved to have seen Chinatown in black and white.
Yeah, some of them are like the movie Ed Wood is in black and white. It
Yeah.
works really good. And that movie you mentioned, Mickey Rourke. What was that movie? A comic book type of movie with him in it
Oh
in
yeah,
black and
Sin
white.
City, Sin
Sin
City.
City, that worked in
Yeah,
black and white. I
yeah.
saw a movie. Is it Nebraska? That's one of the newer movies I saw that I thought worked. I think that
Mm,
was in black and white with Bruce Dern
right,
of the last several
right.
years. But
Hmm.
I saw it because I tend to see it if there's somebody in it. Like if Al Pacino, who I like, is in a movie, I'm more likely to see it because it's him, or Meryl
Right,
Streep because it's her.
right.
And so on and so on. Favorite Sam Elliott films. So I took it off. Favorite. The only one I can think of right
Yeah.
now is Mask that he's in
Well,
with the
that and
chair.
you got Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. You got The Big Lebowski, which he has a small role in. So I would say for movies that he was the star in, either Mask or Roadhouse.
Thoughts on Carnival of Souls?
I dig it. I dig it. I really enjoy it.
Well, it's Carnival of Souls. I could go on forever saying how much I love older movies and black and white,
Mhm.
right, that are effective. But for some reason, I hear an echo. You hear an
Mm.
echo?
Mm-mm.
I don't know why it came back. Sorry about this.
Yeah.
Why is this happening? I hear it. But for some reason, Carnival of Souls bored the crap out of me, even though I love movies like that are dreamy and suggestive and not in
Right.
your face. I don't know. But having said that, I've been dying to go back to see it because I think now I'd like it much better than
Mm.
I did then. I think I really appreciate it more now. I saw it a long time ago.
Okay.
And they really did kind of the same thing, dare I say it, with The Sixth Sense.
Mm.
That's kind of like what the idea of Carnival of Souls is.
Right.
Uh, oh, I gotta try this out. The Virgin Spring is one of my favorite
Mhm.
foreign films. Belle de Jour. Want to see? I know what I'm talking about, right?
I have. Oh,
Godzilla.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, Godzilla.
Gojira.
Yeah, I have a ton of favorite foreign films, specifically by Akira Kurosawa, and Bergman, Fellini. Some of them would be Godard as well. Um, Seven Samurai is probably my all-time favorite foreign film, followed by His High and Low, Amarcord by Fellini. Foreign Blows is fantastic. Those early Godard films, Breathless, is wonderful. So many great foreign films from lesser known directors as well. I mean, it's just not the ones that but so many great films. I thought that Parasite from a couple years ago was a terrific film. But yeah, Yojimbo, yeah, a lot of great stuff from Kurosawa. He probably is my favorite foreign film director.
I haven't seen every Kubrick film. All the ones I saw, I'm going to tell you that I remember them being good. Now that's like Paths of Glory. I thought was good. I don't really
Hmm.
like war films, but I remember thinking that was good. Clockwork Orange, I liked.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I'm going to try to remember all of them. I don't like the subject of at all of She's how I. What is it? Love the Bomb. What is that?
Oh yeah, yeah,
How
Doctor Strangelove.
Doctor Strangelove. Like those are topics like Paths of Glory and Doctor
Hmm.
Strangelove. I'd be like, anything dealing with like I don't know war or I don't care about that. But yet because he was directing them, they were interesting and I enjoyed them. I never saw Eyes Wide Shut, so I don't know
Well,
about
see,
that one.
that would be the one film that really got mixed reviews initially, and then upon further, viewings, people started opening up about that one. But it's just up to the person. I mean, personally, for me, I've enjoyed every Stanley Kubrick film that I've seen. The Killing might be my favorite. Was Sterling Hayden. I absolutely adored that film. But yeah, Pacific Glory, like Joe said, Clockwork Orange. I've, saw that first time when I was
Oh,
10, and
2001. How about that?
yeah, 2001's another one. Yeah, I mean, Clockwork Orange and Goodfellas are the two movies that I've bought the most. I think I bought them like 6, 7 times each. Twice on video cassette, twice on DVD, twice on Blu-ray. So it's yeah. Well, shocking moment in any movie.
Um,
Wow.
I could
You
name a
know,
bunch of those. Well,
I yeah, go ahead.
should I even
You know
mention?
what? Yeah. Well, I mean, mine's from a TV movie.
What is it?
I couldn't remember how old I was. I don't know how I ended up in watching this film, but the last scene in the last of the three movies from Trilogy of Terror.
I knew he was
You
going to
know,
say before he even
yeah,
opened his mouth when he said TV movie.
yeah.
Yeah, about the doll coming
The
to life.
doll
Yes.
come to life. That
Yeah, that it was. Let me
stuck
tell
with
you,
me for all my life.
anybody who saw that in its day. Now I don't know how old. I mean, you saw when it was first on TV or later because it was on
It
in
probably had to have
'75.
been, yeah, it had to have been probably 78 or 79.
Yeah, it was terrifying back in the day. You watch it today,
Yeah.
not as much. I
No.
showed it to my nephews when they were
Yeah.
small. And they were terrified. Then we revisited it when they were older. They were like, "Oh, this is silly. It's ridiculous." Like it didn't. But that was one I would mention. That was one. See, to me, like horror movies too. They were always. I just found them kind of cool, or neat, fun. I didn't really get scared, but movies that stand out usually from horror movies. I think. Um, the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre is disturbing and stays with you, but and it's not that there's any outright gore in it. It's just
Yeah.
mentally disturbing, and so there's that. And there's a movie called Cannibal Holocaust,
Oh, yeah.
which is actually taking real animals and and killing them
Slaughtering
and
them.
stuff. And let me tell you something, that was horrible. Now,
Yeah.
and that was one. I mean, I didn't go out. I'm going to see that. But I definitely at one point in my life, I had a whole slew of friends, and that was we were all horror fans, but they went for more like that stuff. Where I'd want to watch more Boris Karloff and
Yeah.
Bela Lugosi and Hammer films, and they were watching more of that. That's how I saw it. And when you take a giant turtle and try to take
Right.
its shell off, that's
Right.
pretty horrible. You
Shocking for
ask,
me. Yeah. Shocking for me. My 8-year-old self. When Darth Vader tells Luke Skywalker he was his father, was pretty shocking for me.
that's a shock.
Yeah, it was a shocker. Didn't see that one coming.
Tom's the one to ask for because I don't. This whole thing
Uh,
about criteria. I mean, I
it's
guess it's a good question. It's a good
it's
question.
it's
Right.
it's so up in the air. Seven Samurai for one, would be my favorite Criterion period. But shit, oh my god.
You mean as in like Criterion itself, like release, not
Yeah, do you mean the release itself
not the movie?
or the film? I mean, because I love Amarcord, the Fellini film. I love Seven Samurai. I mean, there's so many. Virgin Spring, like Joe said, is another favorite of mine. So let's just go. I'll do those three right now: Virgin Spring, Amarcord, and Seven Samurai are my
I
three
mean, I don't know.
favorites.
I mean, they put a Hard Day's Night. If you're talking about as far as like how is it on the Criterion
Right.
Collection? I like a Hard Day's Night on the Criterion Collection. And to me, I'm not as knocked out by Criterion as a lot of people are. They did a great job with the Blob back in the day when they first put that out for an old movie like that. But I mean, I appreciate the types of films they put out, but I'm trying to think which discs really blow me away. Um, I'm drawing a blank right now. To tell you the truth, that's terrible, isn't it? But favorite Woody Allen film, like one film. I like Woody Allen a lot. I have a lot of favorite films.
Right.
So how about if I'll go just name a bunch of them. Um, Crimes and Misdemeanors. I like Husbands and Wives. I
Mm.
like Small Time Crooks. These are like even later ones here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I like take not Take the Money Run. It's not a Woody Allen film, but it's Play It Again, Sam. Even though he's in it, it's not
Yeah.
his film.
Yeah.
I used to like Sleeper when it's the first film. I start everybody out with Sleeper for the first film, but
Mm.
these days, I rather watch like Hannah and her sisters or
Right.
something like that.
Um, I adore Bananas and Sleeper and Zelig. You can't go wrong with Annie Hall. But the one of the later ones that I really really love still to this day is Blue Jasmine with Kate Blanchett. Love that movie.
Mm. Yeah, so I like a lot of Woody Allen movies.
So do I. I mean, even his lesser films, there's some stuff too, and just Small Time Crooks, like you said, Whatever Works with Larry David. That wasn't really considered one of his best
Yeah,
films, but it still had some enjoyable moments. I like Larry David playing the Woody Allen character.
I can't think of this fast enough. I mean, fast enough. You have one that pops into your mind, like a meaningful film that you thought deserved more praise. Um,
Wow.
I have to
Yeah,
think
I'm
about that.
sure. I'm sure there is, and I'm sure I have some of them behind me. Um, and I'd have to think about that. Yeah, but yeah, maybe you should have wrote me that question.
Think before you think, Adam. Think before you. Uh,
But yeah, there are quite a few films out there that I love that I wish more people would appreciate. Absolutely. Yeah.
Sidney Lumet movies. I gotta remember them. I know I've seen
Oh,
some, but I can't think of what he directed.
12 Angry Men.
That's his?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be it.
Save the Tiger. I want to
Oh,
say.
Jack Lemmon. That was good. I saw
Yeah.
that.
I got to double check on that one.
Yeah, I didn't
Um,
remember who directed, but you know.
yeah. It's so hard to remember everything.
Yeah.
Um, there's some really good Sidney Lib. Oh, what was the Pacino one? Was it Serpico? Um,
Oh, yeah. So,
was a great one. You
yeah.
know.
I'm just going down. Look, Adam, I'm giving you a rest. Adam just asks like when we do our live streams. He's got all the questions. I don't get if anything good. I'll pop it up, Adam. But I'm going to give
Yeah.
somebody else a turn here. Well, I'll put this here. I don't watch new
I
horror films either.
Well, see, this one is exception. I do have The Lighthouse. We did watch it a few months back, and it plays long. It feels long, um, and yeah, I think they did Dog Day Afternoon as well together. But the payoff, was fine. I didn't think it was like this great thing, great low budget thing or whatever. But I mean, Lighthouse was fine. I'll just say that it was fine.
Yeah, I don't care to see it. Um, you think Wes Craven just made a low budget and far worse version of Virgin Spring with The Last House on the Left? Here's the thing: The Last House on the Left. It's another one of those explicit. I use the term slasher film for lack of
Hmm.
films. There's a lot of films that have incorporated that Virgin Spring revenge theme when go back and slaughter, take revenge on
Right.
everybody. And that's one of them. However, that's one of those films that I caught very late in my fandom. By the time I caught it, I didn't think it was so outrageous. I mean,
Mm.
it had its moments, but I'd seen a lot worse by the time I got to Last House on the Left. So much so that when I went back to reboots, I actually went to the theater to see the reboot of Last House on the Left, and I liked it better than the 1972 version.
Oh wow.
So it happens. I mean, rarely sometimes, but the
Hmm.
Phantom Carriage 21. I've never seen it.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's part. I think that was a Criterion as well. Yeah, I think I have that back here as
Let me tell you, Tom has everything. Trust
well.
me, he's
No,
got
I
everything back
don't. No, I don't.
there. V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta is fine. And again, it's another decent movie from the 90s. Was it the 90s or early 2000s? I don't remember now. It's been a long
Is
time.
there a difference? Do you like Peter Sellers' Pink
Uh,
Panther films? I guess so. I don't think I've ever sat down and watched them all the way through. You go on TV, you see. I've seen bits of them here and there, and he can be amusing, at times. I need to actually see them.
hmm.
I've seen them amusing in the bits I've seen of them.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen the first one. Maybe I should go back and give it another view. Favorite character
But
actor?
what do you consider when you say character actor?
You mean like a bit part actor? The supporting actor type thing.
I can't think like it.
There's been a lot.
There's been like hundreds of them, but how do you pick one?
Right. You got the Balsams, you got the Ed Begley, you got the Ed Begleys out there. There's some really good, great character actors. What's his name? Damn it! He played he did WNBC and in the Howard Stern movie.
Oh, I know who you mean, Paul
Yeah.
Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti, I think, is a great character actor.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
he's good. Yeah, that's a good one.
yeah, you know,
He's good.
yeah,
I had no interest in seeing Top Gun, the first one,
yeah.
to tell you the truth. So I'm not going to see two.
I
And
have
Ghostbusters, I
no.
saw the first
Yeah,
Ghostbusters on a date. It was
right.
we did more than just watch the movie. That's all I remember about that. I have no interest in any more Ghostbusters.
I've got no interest in. I didn't have any interest in the original Top Gun, and I've got no or Days of Thunder. Those films do nothing for me, and I've got no interest at all in Top Gun 2.
There you go. I have never seen any of the Mission Impossible franchise with
Yeah.
Tom Cruise. I just never have. That's all I could
I
say.
saw the first one, the Brian De Palma film. Didn't care for it, and didn't bother seeing any other ones.
Now let me get these names. There's so many. I always get William Wyler and Billy Wilder. Is it Some Like It Hot?
Billy Wilder is Some Like It Hot. Billy Wilder, I mean, he has so many excellent films. Sunset Boulevard. You got The
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Apartments. You got The Lost Weekend, Double Indemnity. The Fortune Cookie, Ace in the Hole. Stalag 17 is amazing, amazing film. So yeah, it's
Of the ones you mentioned, Sunset Boulevard and Some Like It Hot. I forget, who's what sometimes.
right.
Oh, Ernest Borgnine, great character actor. Yeah, didn't Sidney Lumet do Dog Day Afternoon?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah.
Maltese Falcon for me, one of those movies. I don't get it. I don't get what the big thing is about it. I saw it and I just didn't think much of it or even understand it. Tell you the truth.
I enjoy it. I don't think it's one of those movies that you can watch a couple times a year. I think you need to watch it, you put it away, and you watch it a couple years later, and maybe you pick up on stuff that you missed the first time. But it's good, in my opinion.
How about this? Any films you disliked on first seeing that you now love? And that requires thought sometimes, but I have one.
Yeah. To be honest with you, not really. Not really.
I wouldn't say that I disliked it necessarily, but I was disappointed, and then I came to love it, and that is Kill Bill Volume 2. Because I saw Kill Bill 1, loved it, and I love Tarantino for the most part. And then I went to see 2, and it was like, I expected more nonsense and crazy all-out fighting like in the first one. And then through some kind of series of events, don't ask me how, I wound up going to the theater to see Kill Bill 2 a total of 9 times. That is my record. And every time, I don't know, because maybe I was out with somebody different, or maybe I was just trying to get out of the house, whatever it was, and every time I saw it, which can happen to a lot of things, which music, they say sometimes you can listen to something many times and grow to really love it, or a movie. You see things you didn't see the first time. You get certain feeling about characters' motivations that you didn't pick up. And I began to love every frame of that movie, Kill Bill 2, more than the first one, to the point where I still consider them as one. I consider them one big epic, but yeah, I have an answer. I didn't hate it. but I was disappointed. Here you go, Frank Capra.
Yeah, absolutely adore Frank Capra. A lot of great films.
But what is the ones I'm trying to think?
You can't take it with you. I think is
It
one of the
can't take it
ones
with you.
is I
I
think is
meant
most underrated in my opinion. I think that's one of those films that I wish would get more praise in
It
his
happened one
filmography.
night. I
And
like that
happened one
one.
night, yeah. Mr. Deeds and Mr. Smith, those films are. I mean, everybody should know those films, those Capra films. Um,
he does It's a Wonderful Life. No.
and he does It's a Wonderful Life,
Now
absolutely.
the thing about that's an honorable contender too. I
Hmm.
hated that movie when I first. Another one. It was on every year. I didn't catch it till I was. I mean, I gotta say recently. I mean, 10 years ago. I've never
Mm,
watched it. I'm like, this is supposed to be the greatest Christmas movie ever made. What Christmas? About a guy that goes bankrupt. Nothing to do with Christmas except the end. I couldn't stand it. Then I saw it again later, and I didn't have that expectation. I just took it for what it was, and I liked it.
mhm.
But I don't love it, but I like it. All right, that's it. That's interesting.
All right.
Okay, here you go. Favorite Paul Newman movie.
Top 5 favorite actor for me. I adore Paul Newman, 50s, 60s, 70s films, and then, a little bit into the 80s. I could go, The Hustler, HUD. Is one of my all-time favorites from him. Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. I mean, somebody up there likes me. One of his early films, Cool Hand Luke,
Are
is
you reading
great.
stuff? Are you reading stuff?
Yeah.
cool,
Um,
Cool Hand Luke. I was gonna say is one of mine. Yeah,
yeah. Um,
but
what
I
else?
know these are. I don't think these are favorites of
Oh,
yours. But
The
go ahead.
Verdict. The Verdict
Oh
from
yeah, yeah.
the early '80s film is, I think, which I think was Sidney Lumet as well. I got to double check that. Sweet Bird of Youth is great as well.
Not the so you don't like the Silver Chalice?
Oh, his very first. Oh God,
Oh, no, I. But me, I mean, the first things for me are the two ones with Robert Redford. I mean, my
Oh
favorite
well,
Paul
yeah,
Newman movie is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid or The Sting. But I like the whole Hustler.
yeah,
I saw that and I like Cool Hand Luke a
yeah.
lot. They call me that. A guy used to call me that at work. He used to say, "You." Before I saw the movie, he said, "You know who you are? Cool Hand Luke. That's who you are." And I didn't get it,
Funny.
and then when I saw the
Yeah.
movie, I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." And what my bosses think we got here is a failure to communicate. But
Hmm.
uh, so we're up to. Let's see. Let's make sure what time we're on. We're on an hour and 2 minutes. So what do you think, Tom? It's up to you.
Yeah, go a little longer.
All right.
As long as your battery's doing okay.
Yeah, where am I? I'm using a battery for the first time.
Mm.
I have an hour and 44 minutes remaining.
Yeah.
Folks, yeah, that's the thing. I've had this laptop that I'm on, I've had for about 10 years. And I've never unplugged it from the AC cord. This is the first time I'm ever using this 10-year-old laptop with the battery because I wanted to change in here for my movies.
Right.
And that's a 55-inch screen. It may look smaller to you guys, but I don't know. I don't think it's like a 20-inch screen or something.
Right.
All right, let's see what we got here.
But yeah, Paul Newman is definitely one of my top 5 favorite actors of all time.
Paul Newman. Do you have any favorite movie posters, even if you don't like the film? Yeah, well, I have a lot of favorite movie posters. Again, mine are all
Yeah.
from the 1930s through the maybe 80s. Because again, along with everything else, posters started to suck too.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, even the horror ones, starting with like movie Scream, you might notice they all have the same thing: a bunch of concerned-looking teenagers staring at you,
Right.
serious teenagers. That's it. No artwork, no fancy schmancy paintings or anything that they used to do. So the art of posters,
Right.
movie posters, really or earlier, I think.
Right. I love the up close image of De Niro's face for Raging Bull. I have that one framed. I also love all the Star Wars film, the original Star Wars film posters. I think are excellent.
Strother Martin, yeah, there's another
What we've
character
got
actor.
here is failure to communicate.
He's great. He's in so many things, and he's the lead role in a Snake movie. from called.
Oh, is that him?
He's like the
Yeah,
mad doctor that turns a man into a snake.
that's hilarious.
Great stuff.
Hmm.
um. Okay, so it looks like we're at the end for questions. So we'll see if anybody else pops on with some questions. Otherwise, we'll just wrap it up.
Yeah. William Holden is an underrated director. I mean, he gets lost in the shuffle of the great leading men, especially when he was in the time of Humphrey Bogart and Brando, stuff like that. So he is a really good leading actor. I believe. Stalag 17 is excellent. We talked about Sunset Boulevard. Um, was a Bridge on the River Kwai. So yeah, good stuff from William Holden.
Let's see the things mentioned. House is my favorite poster. House from 1977.
Was that the Japanese one? Yeah, I think that's
Mm. Favorite
favorite.
non-rock musicals. I was subjected to a few of them from my girlfriend and stuff. And a friend I used to know that would like musicals. I'm sure I do, but let me think.
Well, Oklahoma for me.
Mm, I got to think of this because I want to have a good answer, but I'm trying to think. Like I've seen things like Bye Bye Birdie, and I've seen Singing in the Rain, and we
Right.
just went to the movie theater in recent times to see Meet Me in St. Louis.
Oh, that's a good one.
Um, None of them knocked me out though. In particular,
West Side Story.
yeah, West Side Story. Yeah, maybe I would say Sound of Music. If that's a musical, I guess, could you call it that a musical? Sound of
Mhm.
Music. Favorite Christopher Lee film. If anybody says Lord of the Rings, I'll kill him. I heard that somewhere else, man. I watched that on another, I don't say who, but the young guys channel. Lord of the Rings.
So many Christopher Lee films.
I like too many Christopher Lee, but my favorite Christopher Lee movie that has him in it is not necessarily because of him. It's a movie known in the U.S. as Horror Hotel. That's a U.S. title, Horror Hotel, but it was originally in England called City of the Dead, and he plays a shady character in there. He's not really as prominent as his later, as well, Hammer films of earlier and later.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I like him in that movie, and he did the Wicker Man, the
Yes,
original
that's
Wicker Man.
right. The original Wicker Man, who with the remake starring who, Joe?
Nicolas Cage.
There you go.
Oh,
Yes,
I got it right.
which was not really that. It wasn't really good at all.
1776. I saw that. I was in like fourth grade or something, and he took us to see that. Went to the city.
Mm.
Whole class went to see that.
Oh, that last one's not a bad one.
Favorite Eastwood Western?
Yeah.
I'm not big on. I don't have. I didn't. I don't think I saw them, man. I like Hang 'Em High and all that whole Outlaw
Hang 'em High
Jersey
is
Way.
great. Yeah.
Um,
High Plains
you know,
Drifter is a good one. Yeah, I mean, obviously you got the three spaghetti westerns from Sergio Leone, um, but I think Hang 'Em High might be one of the better ones out there. Underrated for sure.
The Devil Rides Out. That's a good Christopher Lee movie.
Yeah.
Um, what about Robert
Um,
Duvall?
hey, listen,
He's
Duvall
in a
is,
lot of
is
things.
he's another one that could be in that great character actor list. Duvall has a ton of great films and great performances. Ton of them.
He's in a lot of stuff.
Mm.
Okay, well, how about movie serials? Have you watched any of those?
No, I can't say that I have.
I have some I've been meaning to see, and some I have. There's one. God, I think it's. I don't know if it's the 40s. It's the 40s, I think, or the late 30s. It's the Adventures of Captain Marvel. With Tom Tyler. That's might be my favorite one. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I think. All right. Well, I'll ask a couple. I'll do a couple more because I do have to get going too because we got to get dinner ready over here.
Okay.
So, favorite Christmas film?
Oh boy, Christmas film.
Well, I'll go with Miracle on 34th Street. The one with Maureen O'Hara, Natalie Wood, of course. And I like watching Laurel and Hardy's March of the Wooden Soldiers, even though it was originally called Babes in Toyland, even though it's not a Christmas movie, but it works on Christmas. You
Yeah.
know, you have any?
Christmas Vacation is probably my favorite.
Yeah, right.
I
Yeah.
know that's a boring answer, but
Yeah.
it's hilarious. It's a classic. It's a classic.
I'll tell you the worst one. Man, I put on that White Christmas. Oh my! There's no Christmas in that either.
There's no
Singing
Christmas.
it
It's
like.
not until the end. We actually watched that this past Christmas,
Oh,
and that was
come
for the
on!
first time. For the first time, I found it to be very boring.
I hated that thing. Hated it. My
Mm,
girlfriend loves it. I hated it. Very un-Christmassy. Well,
mhm.
anyway, folks, let's have a positive note before we leave. But come on, all right. Let's try this one. Favorite comedian in a serious role. Oh, or favorite serious actor in a comedic role. Oh man,
That's a
um,
good one. You know,
Rodney Dangerfield as a if I remember right, like a abuser,
right.
abusive dad or something in Natural Born Killers. And
Hmm.
I like Robin Williams when he plays like in stuff like I liked him, but I didn't like it. I hated Robin Williams as a comic. I hated him. He drove me nuts. But I liked him.
Stand up comic, or you mean just a
Uh,
comedic actor? Is that what you're talking
I
about?
guess anything. No,
Okay, all right,
but I do like Robin Williams and stuff like 1 Hour Photo, and I
right,
liked him in Insomnia when he, with Al Pacino.
right.
And as far as the other, what about serious actor in a comedic
S-
role?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. Bruce Willis, hands down. Bruce Willis, we consider a serious actor, like, more or less, in Death Becomes Her as playing a dweebish, nerdish guy in there. I think he's
Hmm.
brilliant in that movie.
Okay. I would say De Niro in Midnight Run. I think he's hilarious in that film. And comedian in a serious role. I'd say Robin Williams in shit. The World According to Garp.
Oh, how can I forget that? You reminded me of that. That's the first time I ever liked Robin Williams. I saw
Mm,
that. That was one of my best movie memories. It just was. It
mm,
was just a night. It was a beautiful summer night. Went to the theater on a double date with my
mm-hmm.
friend and his girlfriend and mine, and we had a great time at the movie. The opening song was "When I'm 64."
Yep.
They
Yep.
used over the
Yep.
credits, and I said, "This guy, I like Robin Williams was good in that." I thought, and
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. So there's a positive note. So what do
Yep.
we say we sign off now, Tom?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. This is great. Thanks for having me on here, Joe.
this was fun. We can
Mhm.
do it again and have other movie topics. Still don't know whether I'm going to keep these here on this channel or move it to my movie channel or both. But that doesn't seem sensible to have one on each one. Then you get which one do you watch? But yeah, we'll do this again and have other movie topics. I think in the future we're going to talk about certain movies themselves. Just
Right.
concentrate on certain movies. So thank you, everybody, and thank you, Tom.
Yes. Thank you, Joe.
Let's do it again real soon. And I still have an hour and a half battery remaining.
Mm.
So this worked
All
out
right.
good. All right, folks, take care.
See you.